Okay. So a very warm good evening to all. This is Manisha Malik, again your host for the evening. I hope you and your family will be doing well and keeping safe as well. So let's proceed for today's evening again with all new journey to proceed with Miss Shelly Bish, a renowned educator, come global speaker, come writer, social activist. So she will be sharing her precious thoughts on a need of time topic, which is modern ways of motivating students and teachers. You all are looking forward to have something like this. So before inviting our guest speaker today, I would like to invite Dr. Ratish to welcome our guest of speaker to enlighten the evening. Over to you, Dr. Ratish, Director and Founder, Edukos United Scholar. Welcome, sir.
Thank you, Manisha ma'am. Thanks, as usual, for a precious introduction about today's webinar, along with providing a brief introduction about our guest speaker for today's evening. So, welcome one and once again for today's session, Impactus and informative talk backed by a great personality. We have today with us Ms. Shally Bist. So, without taking any more time, I would like to welcome and hand it over by Ms. Shally ma'am to ignite the evening. By her thoughts, welcome once again, ma'am, for behalf of entire team of Edukos United Scholars. Please, over to you, ma'am. Shally, ma'am.
Thank you, Mr. Ratish and Manisha, for such a warm welcome on your platform. I'm rather honored. So, I would like to begin with the topic chosen for the day. Well, teachers across the world have been teaching remotely for a couple of months now, and it seems unlikely this will change so soon. However, long this continues, many educators are finding that one of the trickier aspects of not having their pupils in the classroom is keeping them motivated. Among your students, maybe you have found it's the below average that struggle the most with motivation. Or maybe it's simply the same group that were not motivated even in school. We have been teaching all our lessons really successfully online. What has been surprising is that some of our quieter students have really grown in confidence online. It's very easy for some students to make excuses about not doing the work, but mostly it's the same students who were already unmotivated in the classroom. So, what strategies can we employ to boost their motivation remotely and keep them learning? This is what I will be sharing with my audience today. The first thing which I want to talk about is work with parents. We need to focus on communication between children and their parents. We can report anything that happens in an online class really quickly through the WhatsApp or maybe a phone call. As teachers, we can even email parents if there are any problems. Try your best to engage their parents. They are blessing in disguise, I tell you. Second, I want to talk about autonomy has been shown to boost learning. You can get students to feel more autonomous by directing their own learning, setting their own goals, and studying material at their own pace on their own terms. But what if they are not motivated to start the task in the first place? Well, you can try making tasks more engaging by letting students pick which ones they want to do from a selection. When setting an activity, give them at least two options to choose between so that the activities are more tailored to their interests and they can feel more autonomy over their learning. Next is the positive reinforcement. Lots of praise is effective, not just directly. I've also been putting through commendations for my students. Keep using online award system and even make it short term. Rather than termly commendations, consider weekly awards for positive contributions to class discussion, responding to feedback, making sure to reward and praise things such as students' effort for completion of a task, assignment, classwork, homework, rather than their attainment. Next is competitions. A bit of healthy competitions can be great for boosting motivation as well as teaching students the importance of learning from failures and losses. You could run small class competitions on larger projects with a small prize, even if it is a virtual gold star. Or rather than competing individually, split each class into teams or houses, it depends from school to school, and give them points for completing tasks, contributing to discussions, being positive, which might also help to boost a sense of connection and community with your fellow classmates. Next, address them directly. Make sure you regularly engage with students individually. Engaging with students by their name really helps. During an online session, I do a paper register at the beginning so that I know whose microphone works and who needs to use the chat function. Having this paper register in front of me really helps to remember to ask each person a question at least once. It means they can't avoid you and they all feel included in the class. Next is tailor your strategies. There are different types of motivators. Intrinsic, which is your genuine interest in the subject, a sense of accomplishment, and extrinsic, that is your parental or societal expectations, maybe the personal goals. And each student will be motivated by a web of different factors. You know your class best. If a particular member is struggling to stay motivated, do you know what drives them? For example, if they like a sense of accomplishment, set them a series of small, bite sized tasks for a series of easy wins. If they like rewards, use plenty of positive reinforcement or shower them with house points at any opportunity. Promote growth mindset over fixed mindset. Develop meaningful and respectful relationships with your students. Grow a community of learners in your classrooms. Establish high expectations and establish clear goals. Be it inspirational. Give students a sense of control. While guidance from a teacher is important to keep the children on task and motivated, allowing students to have some choice and control over what happens in the classroom is actually one of the best ways to keep them engaged. For example, allowing students to choose the type of assignment they do or which problems to work on can give them a sense of control that they must motivate them to do more. Be clear about the learning objectives. It can be very frustrating for students to complete an assignment or even to behave in class if there aren't clearly defined objectives. Students want and need to know what is expected of them in order to stay motivated to work. At the beginning of the academic year, lay out clear objectives, rules, and expectations of students so that there is no confusion and students have goals to work towards. Create a threat free environment. While students do need to understand that there are consequences to their actions, far more motivating for students than threats are positive reinforcements. When teachers create a safe, supportive environment for students, affirming their beliefs in a student's abilities rather than laying out the consequences of not doing things, students are much more likely to get and stay motivated to do their work. At the end of the day, students will fulfill the expectations that the adults around them communicate. So, focus on can, not can't. Change your surroundings. An online class is a great place for learning, but sitting at a desk day in and day out can make the class seem a bit dull for some students. To renew interest in the subject or just in learning in general, give your students once a chance to get out of the monotony of the textbook teaching, conduct virtual debates on current issues, bring in speakers, conduct activities related to Wakelet, Petlet, Canva, or even just head to Kahoot for quizzes related to your subject. The brain loves novelty, and innovative teaching can be just what some students need to stay motivated to learn. Next is offer, varied experiences. Not all students will respond to lessons in the same way. For some, hands-on experiences may be the best. Others may love to read books quietly or to work in just groups and do just nothing. You need to keep them engaged. For example, allow the student to choose the type of assignment they do or which problems to work on can give them a sense of control that they must just motivate them to do more. Next, I will talk about, positive competition here in the class. Competition in the classroom isn't always a bad thing, and in some cases, can motivate students to try harder and work to excel. Work to foster a friendly spirit of competition in your classroom, perhaps through group games, maybe related to some material or other opportunities for students to show up their knowledge and skills. And also, when you conduct this, please offer rewards. Everyone likes getting rewards, and offering your students a chance to earn them is an excellent source of motivation. Think something as simple as a sticker on a paper can make students work harder and really aim to achieve. Consider the personalities and needs of your students to determine appropriate reward for your class. Give students responsibility. Assigning students online monitorship is a great way to build a community and to give students a sense of motivation. Most students will see activity monitorship as a privilege rather than a burden and will work hard to ensure that they and other students are meeting expectations. It can also be useful to allow students to take monitorship at either, say, Google Classroom, MS Teams, Zoom, Google Meet for all class activities so that each feels important and valued in your class. Next, allow students to work together. Most children want to succeed. They just need help figuring out what they need to do in order to get there. One way to motivate your students is to get them to take a hard look at themselves and determine their own strengths and weaknesses. Students are often more motivated by creating these kinds of critics of themselves than by having a teacher do it for them, as it makes them feel in charge of creating their own objectives and goals. Next is model enthusiasm for learning. One of the best ways to get your students motivated is to share your enthusiasm. When you are excited about teaching, they will be much more excited about learning. It's that simple. Know your students very, very well. Getting to know your students is about more than just memorizing their names. Students need to know that their teacher has a genuine interest in them and care about them and their success. When students feel appreciated, it creates a safe learning environment and motivates them to work harder as they want to get praise and good feedback from someone they feel knows and respect them as an individual. So, harness students' interest. Knowing your students also has some other benefits, maybe that it allows you to relate classroom material to things that students are interested in or have experience. Teachers can use this interest to make things more interesting and relatable to students, keeping students motivated for longer. Help students find intrinsic motivation. It can be great to help students get motivated, but at the end of the day, they need to be able to generate their own motivation. Helping students find their own personal reasons for doing classwork and working hard, whether because they find material interesting, want to go abroad, or any one of their favorite universities, or just love to learn, is one of the most powerful gifts you can give them. Next, very important point, manage student anxiety. Some students find the prospect of not doing well so anxiety inducing that it becomes a self fulfilling prophecy. For these students, teachers may find that they are most motivated by learning and struggling with a subject isn't the end of the world. Offer support, no matter what the end result is, and ensure that students don't feel so overwhelmed by expectations that they just give up. Make goals high but attainable. If you're not pushing your students to do more than the bare minimum, most won't seek to push themselves on their own. Students like to be challenged and will work to achieve high expectation so long as they believe these goals to be within their reach. So don't be afraid to push students to get more out of them. Give learning feedback and offer chances to improve. Students who struggle with classwork can sometimes feel frustrated and get down on themselves, draining motivation. So, in these situations, it's critical that teachers provide effective learning feedback to help these students to learn exactly where they went wrong and how they can improve next time. Figuring out a method to get where students want to be can and also help them to stay motivated to work hard. Next is track progress. It can be hard for students to see just how far they have come. especially with subjects that are difficult for them. Maths, for many of the students, it's a phobia. Tracking can come in handy in the classroom, not only for teachers but also for students. Teachers can use this as a way to motivate students, allowing them to see visually just how much they are learning and improving as the year goes on. Next is provide opportunity for success. Students, even the best ones, can become frustrated and demotivated when they feel like they are struggling or are not getting the recognition that other students are. Make sure that all students get a chance to play to their strengths and feel included and valued. It can make a world of difference in their motivation. Fostering student motivation is a difficult but necessary aspect of teaching that teachers must consider. Many may have led classes where students are engaged, motivated, and excited to learn, but have also led classes where students are distracted, disinterested, or reluctant to engage, and probably have led classes that are a mix. Now, what factors influence students' motivation? How can teachers promote students' engagement and motivation to learn? I have three important questions to consider from the student perspective. First one is expectancy. Can I do the task? Second is value. Do I want to do the task? Intrinsic or interest value, the inherent enjoyment that an individual experiences from engaging in the task for its own sake. Utility value, the usefulness of the task in helping achieve other short term or long term goals. Attainment value, the task affirms a valued aspect of an individual's identity and meets a need that is important to the individual. Third is cost. Am I free of barriers that prevent me from investing my time, energy, and resources into the activity? It's important to note that expectancy, value, and cost are not shaped only when a student enters your classroom. These have been shaped over time by both individual and contextual factors. Each of your students comes in with an initial response. However, there are strategies for encouraging student success, clarifying subject meaning, and finding ways to mitigate cost that will increase your students' motivation. Everyone may not end up at the same level of motivation, but if you can increase each student's motivation, it will help the overall atmosphere and productivity of the course that you are teaching. So, my message is try until you succeed. Well, I have discussed in detail about the students' motivation, and now it's the time to discuss about teachers' motivation. In today's world, being a teacher is an incredible challenge. Beyond the day to day of teaching and marking, teachers are faced with students with behavioral or family issues, learning disabilities, and more. Motivated teachers foster a collaborative culture and a positive environment for faculty and students. Now, I want to speak about the teacher motivation from the angle of the school administrators, principal, and management. First point which I want to focus is make yourself available. Now, your role may be in the form of a school administrator, a principal, a management, whosoever, is to make your teachers' lives easier so that they can teach and your students can learn. Help your teachers as much as possible when they have a heavier workload. Consider asking your teachers what they need help with before jumping in so that they do not feel like you are micromanaging. Make sure to also help your teachers through monotonous tasks with software tools. Now, your primary role as a school administrator is to do whatever it takes to free up your teachers to teach. Talk to them. Find out what they are struggling with, what's falling through the cracks, and what they could use help with. Ask what your teachers want in a principal. Then, with their permission, jump in and help. It could be something as simple as just returning books to the school library after class is through with them, Or it could be something more than time consuming, such as working through a conflict with a parent. The key here is to ask your teachers that how you can help them. If you can just start doing stuff, they may think you are micromanaging or maybe watching them so that you can critique them later. Set their minds at ease by communicating your desire to support their day to day activities. While you may not be able to change things like maybe the class size, limited funding, or student behavior, you can offer your teachers a listening ear. It may be counterproductive to have an open door policy. So consider instituting office hours. Set certain hours each day or each week when your teachers know your door is open. They can stop by to talk about whatever is on their mind, a new idea, questions about lesson planning, requests for new equipment, or concerns about a student. When your teachers know you are available and listening to them, they will be more likely to help when you ask or take on a new task when the need arises. Next, very important point: publicly praise your teachers. If a teacher feels valued, you won't need to worry about motivating them. These teachers will know how to stay motivated. Making each teacher feel valued can be as simple as including an announcement in the morning thanking the teacher for something they have done recently. You can also make this a larger gesture by organizing a staff lunch in which you can personally thank teachers for their outstanding contributions to the school. Take the time to call attention to a teacher who has gone above and beyond. Sure, this can be done via email, but making a public gesture of thanks goes a long way toward making a teacher feel good about themselves. Take a few minutes at each staff meeting to mention a few teachers who have contributed in a special way in the last month or two. Send out an email or a thanks after a group of teachers have organized an event or program that was successful. That being said, don't get so focused on praising the individual that you forget to thank others around them. Make a point to organize thank you in front of the departments or of all the teachers to show thanks for all of their hard work. Next, very close to this is reward your teachers. Create a teaching trophy that is given out at the end of maybe each day, a week, month, that depends from school to school. This can be awarded for excellent teaching or going above and beyond in activities maybe beyond the classroom. This provides the teachers with an incentive to excel and also gets them used to accepting feedback from each other. Leave some room in the budget for small gifts. I mean, consider purchasing something small, maybe a small gesture, maybe a gift card that you can give to the teachers who go above and beyond. Maybe if a teacher volunteers to take an extra period or an arrangement, make sure that they know that their work is appreciated, maybe with a small gift. The point is just to show your team that their hard work hasn't gone unnoticed. Encourage teachers to seek out professional development opportunities. You should offer, professional development for the teachers within your school campus, but also provide opportunities for each teacher to learn outside the school as well. This could include conferences, workshops, or specialized professional development offered by CBSE or various other education portals. Next is give your all teachers a voice. Being left out of an important decision that affects them is the easiest way for a teacher to lose motivation. Many teachers would love to be involved in these decisions if you gave them an opportunity. Invite a teacher from each class to be a representative during staff meetings to get their opinion and learn about the proposed strategies. Also, consider holding virtual board meetings as well, where every teacher has the option to attend and listen during meetings, even if they are not directly involved. Empower each teacher's strength. Every teacher has strengths and weaknesses. When teachers are able to use that strength in the classroom, it's easy to see how much more engaged and inspired students become. It may be difficult for some teachers to recognize their own strength, especially while trying to keep up the curriculum standards. To help them figure out what works in the classroom, have teacher think about any particular lessons that worked really well and any tools or techniques that the teacher like to use, such as incorporating maybe a music into a lesson. Next is recognize key stress times. Please, I request, Don't overload teachers with professional development during their busier times, like annual result making. Avoid new initiatives and strategies during the end of the session when the teachers are really busy preparing the annual report cards of the entire school, or while teachers are actually marking the pre-boards or the annual examination, that 100 mark a paper, maybe a 80 mark paper. 20 marks practicals, 30 marks practicals, whatsoever. This causes teachers' motivation to slowly fade. If there is any way you can lend a hand during these times, make sure to do so. Next is encourage collaboration. Having your teachers work together can significantly impact their motivation. More experienced teachers will be recognized for their best teaching strategies. Younger teachers will be given validation that the things that they are trying are actually working. Consider creating professional learning communities within your school to create a more formal structure for collaboration. Use technology such as maybe a plan board, or Google Drive, or Asana to foster a culture of collaborations. Next, very important point is give them space. Teachers are leaders. They are expected to run a classroom of squirrely children, convincing them that yes, they do have to stay seated, and number they may not use their pencils that way or the pen the other way. When it comes to developing their own lesson plans, however, they are often give them a little room to breathe. Most teachers do not adhere to a set curriculum, maybe set by CBSE most of the time, but giving them a little wiggle room can motivate them to excel. Next is nurture greatness. If anyone can appreciate a commitment to lifelong learning, it is a teacher. Teachers also understand that different learners have different needs and that every year researchers find new tested ways to meet them. And that is precisely what makes ongoing professional development so valuable. By giving teachers new ways to reach more children, you can remind them why they have entered this field to begin with. Consider investing in seminars presenting new educational technologies or pedagogical theories like kinesthetic, maybe, or project based learning, maybe. Next, very important point which I want to focus is respect them. Teachers know that the language they use can nurture their relationships with students. The same goes for the administrators also who want to connect with teachers. Use positive, respectful language at all times. And really, listen to their concerns and observations. Do this not because you want to present yourself in a certain way, but because you know that teachers are professionals and that for them teaching is as much a lifestyle as it is a job. Make Teachers Day a special, memorable day for them to remember the entire life. Challenge them. Teachers want administrator to trust their experience, to give them more authority over their instruction, and to provide a fair measurement how effectively they meet their students' needs. They want to excel in their craft. Let them prove it. Give them the tools to succeed. If teachers want to find new ways to reach all different types of learners, they need well stocked supply closets and realistic student to teacher ratios. They need materials that can actually be tactile, auditory, and visual learners, and time to evaluate and work with each child. Let's face it, many schools simply do not have the resources to accomplish their goals, but you can still advocate for your teachers or find creative solutions to help minimize the gaps. Anything, even a healthy dose of empathy, is better than nothing. Next, very, very important thing, pay them what they deserve. Teachers want to be paid what they deserve. No more, no less. They have a point. Usually, many teachers earn less than similarly educated professionals in the other fields. This is how, teachers they are upset when one considers how important their work really is for our future economy. If you want good teachers to continue giving their all, make sure they can afford to do so. Motivating teachers to power through tough times is essential to your school's success. Among the principal's many responsibilities is the incredibly important task of encouraging and building up their teachers so that they can face and overcome any obstacle they encounter. A principal's ability to positively lead and motivate their teachers has a direct impact on retention. If you want to keep good teachers, you have to make them want to stay. And the best way to make good teachers stay is to provide the support and motivation they need to do their job. Sure, it's easy to tell your educators that they have your full support. There are a million little ways to encourage your teachers, but you want to know how to motivate teachers. Encourage the teachers to motivate each other. Support your teachers in front of parents. That is the need of the hour, I'm telling you. As an administrator, a large part of your job is dealing with student conflicts. Often, this will involve parents. In some cases, the child may be struggling in a class and the parent is worried. In other cases, a student may have started a fight in the halfway, stolen something from another student, whatever the case may be. It's highly likely that you and your teacher will have several conversations with our students' parents. Sometimes parents become very defensive about their children and they may become angry and frustrated with you or maybe your teacher. No matter what is said, when you are talking with a student or parent, you should support the initial actions your teacher took to correct the situation. Your job is to support your teacher, and it starts by having their back when it's against the wall. If the teacher didn't handle the situation well, discuss what they could have done differently, but privately. Next, include teachers in strategic planning. Teachers want their students to learn, so they have a vested interest in school reforms and changes that help students learn better. When teachers are given the chance to offer inputs and guidance towards shaping school policy, they often feel more motivated in their teaching and participation within the school. This can be especially important if you are in a school that's looking to improve student achievement, but it rings true just about anywhere. It's also a good idea to keep teachers in the loop about what's going on at the district level, maybe, especially if there are a lot of new policies coming to board that will affect them later on. The next important thing is mentoring. Although teachers can and should be encouraged to motivate each other, there's also a lot to be said for a principal providing mentoring to their teachers as well. Mentoring provides significant motivation for teachers because it guides them towards a stronger and more successful teaching career. To do this, a principal must always be learning. A good principal stays abreast of the latest educational theories and practices and then shares with their teachers in a way that's helpful and practical to implement. In some cases, you may look for, to how to mentor your teacher. Maybe, however, it's probably more practical to work with small groups, such as during teacher staff meetings or in some, short exchanges with the various departments in your school. That being said, you don't have to lead after the school seminars about educational theory or spend hours poring over the latest publications. A good principal works smarter, not harder. The point of a principal teacher mentorship isn't to sit down face to face with every teacher every week. It's to find ways to help each teacher find the knowledge and support they need to enable them to do their job well. Nurture greatness. Most teachers enter the profession because they want to make a difference to young people's lives. They also understand that being a great teacher is an ever evolving process, which is precisely what makes continuing professional development so valuable. By giving your teachers new ways to become better at what they do and impact more children, you can remind them why they entered the field in the first place. Consider investing in more effective professional development to help you in this plight. Last point, and the very last is say thank you. If a teacher feels valued, they will always be motivated. Making each teacher feel valued can be as simple as thanking them for something that they have done recently. You can also, make a larger gesture by maybe organizing a small staff lunch, maybe during the offline mode, in which you personally thank teachers for their outstanding contributions in the school. Teacher motivation, actually, involves both the desire to teach and one's interpersonal style towards students while doing so. A teacher's own personal motivation resolves around the extent of psychological need, satisfaction, experience during the act of teaching, and it manifests itself in terms of teacher enthusiasm and job satisfaction. A teacher's motivating style towards students revolve around what teachers say and do during instruction to motivate students to engage in learning activities, and it manifests itself in terms of autonomy, supportive versus controlling teaching. So keeping your teachers motivated can be a challenge, but it is an essential part of your students' overall success. Great teachers are those that are motivated to excel and take pride in their students' success both inside and outside the classroom. What special things should be done to inspire teachers to keep learning and improving their skills? What to do to keep up staff morale and make their schools fun places to work? Given the state of schools budget, it is extremely difficult for most principals to do substantial things to motivate and inspire teachers, but sometimes little things can make an even bigger difference. Many schools work hard at making small things and difficult. All teachers yearn for reassurance that they are doing a good job. Well, I'm not a great teacher, but I have learned all these from a vast experience and association with the teaching industry on how to motivate children and teachers. So, well, this is all I wanted to speak. Manisha, I hope if you have any question in mind, you can ask me, and I hope I'll try to give better answers to all the questions you put up.
Thank you so much, ma'am, for the wonderful sharing and very well said about student motivation and teachers' motivation. Each information shared by you give us a great learning, ma'am. And yes, we do have some questionnaires with us so that we can learn more from you, ma'am. So the first question, so let us move forward. The first question I have with me is, how do you motivate your own students to work as a team?
Wonderful question, Manisha. Well, say in a class of 45 approximately, my idea is to promote each single child in whatever means possible. I'll not certainly promote the three toppers of my class, but rather want to work with, maybe a media shy, a reserved, an introvert child to come up and take the responsibility, whether it could be a class monitorship, it could be an assignment monitor, or leader of any school club, and then involve them in umpteenth class discussions so that they come out of their cocoons and get rid of their stage phobia. Because, see, Manisha, personally, I have seen that in many cases, what happened, not everywhere, but somewhere I have noticed that only the intelligent children are promoted. They are, they have a very good image in front of the teachers, and the ones who are not been involved in any function, any program, or maybe in any class discussion, they feel demotivated, and usually they are the backbenchers. They sit at the back, maybe, they become reserved, they don't speak much, they do not involve much in the class participation. So I target all my, whether I have a batch of 35, 45, maybe at large 50, but I consider and I give an optimum chance to each and everybody to please speak, make them as maybe the group leader, and then involve them much. So I want all the children to work as a team, be united, and share as much as it is possible so that they come out of their cocoon and they become confident enough. So this is how I practice almost all my
Thank
teaching.
you. Thanks, ma'am. So let's move forward to the next question. So the next question is, what innovative educational practice have you as an educator introduced into your teaching, ma'am?
Well, Manisha, for this, I have the answer to keep your cameras on and interact with me. It's very easy for me to finish the syllabus, but my innovative teaching consists of rigorous participation of my entire class. Rule says you speak incorrect answer, never mind, but be vocal in my class. I want an overall personality development of a child. I involve my children to use, maybe Padlet, Wakelet, Canva, or to decorate their walls after every class. I make them participate in quiz. I use Google Classroom for video submission, Google Forms for quiz, MS Team for debate, Zoom for interclass activities, Google Meet for project-based learning, and many more. These diverse digital tools actually motivate average students a lot, and they are actually giving us the result. And Manisha, one thing also I want to tell you, sometimes what I do, I pretend that I am not tech savvy. And then in my class, I ask my children, while making this presentation or making this video, I'm stuck. Is there anyone to help me out? And I appear as if I'm dumb, I don't have any knowledge. And children, they become so excited. And they tell, okay, ma'am, why don't you use this? This is the technology. Okay, I will be sharing this link to you. So this is how I try to motivate the children during these, trying times to become digitally apt, become more tech savvy, so that they try to give us more and more inspiration. And when then I compliment them, actually they feel motivated. And I really like to see a smile on my children's face after that boost up of mine.
Great, ma'am. So, ma'am, now we have some questions with us, but there is a question in the chat box by Malka Gerwal, ma'am, and I feel it's a very interesting question that she has asked. So, let me ask you the question: How to
Yes.
motivate a teacher who, after being repeatedly motivated, yet commit blunders, which is not good for the students? So, what would be your opinion about this?
See, for this question I must say that nobody is perfect. We can't give anyone 10 on 10. And during these trying times, this was actually a challenge taken by all the teachers. See, you cannot say 100% teachers are tech savvy. Okay, how can you say the Hindi teachers, activity teachers, or the other teachers who might not have used computers ever in their life to suddenly come on MS Team and Zoom and start taking the classes? We were all given the training. Yes, certainly. Those teachers who were good, they picked up fast and they did wonders. And now also, they are learning and learning and doing the wonders. But the ones who till now also, few of the teachers, they still have those problems, scheduling their meeting, their question papers, answering. See, we are now no more using the red pen. We are using the digital pens. Okay, so but they have a problem. How to download? How to check it online? We can't give the result on time, and maybe we have got the deadline, say 3 days, 4 days, but then they end up doing some error and the result is late. The papers are not checked on time, or the question paper is not set on time, or maybe because it has happened, Manisha, it's quite a genuine case. And I will not say blunders, but then technical glitches or whatever. Suppose the examination is there, we all are sitting, and suddenly the paper is there, but we are not able to open the paper. And there are numerous phone calls coming from either the parents or the children. What is this? The exam is scheduled, but it's not getting opening. But at this time, I will not say that is the blunder done by the teacher. It is the goose up, but they maybe it's technical glitch or whatever. But then I personally feel one should not, management or the principal should not just yell at that particular teacher what blunders you have done. I personally think that for learning there is never an age, and each and every educator should, whether whatever age you are, you should be given a second chance. You should be given the time to learn. Maybe you have done the error today, you have done the blunder today, but if you are motivated enough to learn and practice, maybe you will not do that blunder in the future. So accordingly, what I feel, please give a second chance to everybody, and time also to learn, so that anybody cannot do that blunder once again.
Excellent explanation, ma'am. Thank you so much. Thanks for this answer. So, ma'am, let's move forward with the next question. What methods and initiative help you as an educator overcome the challenges, and what challenges could you not handle? Although I can feel that you can handle all, but still, as we have this question, I would like to ask you this question.
Yes, let me tell you that the only one method and initiative that any educator can overcome any challenge is the constant touch with your parents. If you have, we always say that the school, the parents, and the children, we all are a golden triangle. And the best thing is, the communication. Do not keep the communication gap. Void all this. Suppose, in case if you find any problem with the child, your first duty is to inform the parent immediately, and then to inform your principal, the school management, that this is what the problem I am facing. Unless and until the parent is not taken into confidence, you cannot solve the problem. And then try to counsel the child also. A teacher's counseling is very, very important. Just, if suppose an error, don't just shout at the student. Try to listen to the student. Try to listen the problem. And then if you feel, no, I'm not somehow able to handle it, then try to contact the parents, the management, maybe your school counselor, whatever. So that is one thing you can handle. And next thing is, what challenges you could not handle. Now, Manisha, I think you will laugh at this answer of mine. See, I think it has not happened with me or with us. I think it might have happened everybody during this digital online teaching. As I said, 45 to 50 students, suppose if I have in a batch, and my style of teaching is, the moment I join in, I tell each and everyone to just open your cameras. Okay. If a child, cooperate, they will be opening the cameras, and then we have one-to-one interaction. But what if a child doesn't switch on the camera? You keep on giving the instruction, the voice will not come from the other end, and then, mic is not working. Will you solve it? If an answer comes through a friend or through a WhatsApp thing, and the mic is not working, or there is a technical glitch, or if the cameras were on, right, and suddenly if I shoot a question on that particular individual, give me the answer, goes offline, and then
Yes.
where is the child, why did he leave the class, and the answer comes, oh, network issue, electricity problem. But you can't help it out. Children joining in, suddenly if they leave, if the camera is not on, and especially this is small thing that we could handle. But the one thing we could not handle was, first thing, the examination, and second process was cheating during online examination. Manisha, I tell you, all our children, in India, during the online mode, they were all 90 plus. Suddenly they were all genius. We were struggling so hard to put all the children to the grade of 80s, to the grade of 90s, when the school was offline. And what happened that during this online examination, I'm talking about the pre-boards, I'm talking about the annual examination or any other examination, suddenly, so we could not control that cheating. And this not happened in one school, but this is a report of overall. What can you do? Even, the cameras were on, we were all on duty, we were monitoring the child, but what if the child is cheating through another device? Okay, so that is one technical glitch, I could say, that we could not solve, but otherwise whatever we tried best, it just worked out.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you. And I must say that the student has really enjoyed the examination during this pandemic because all are
Yes.
scoring good. They're very well said. So let's move forward, ma'am. We have next question with us. So, how can you help students who have been left behind due to COVID-19, ma'am?
Yes, this is also a practical thing, and I think it might have happened almost in many schools. See, for online teaching, we actually wanted the digital tools. But suppose in a family who have, maybe parents are working and they are working from home, then there are two or three brothers or sisters. They also have the online class. But in a family, do you expect, all 4 or 5 members to have their personal laptops, to have their personal mobiles? So there was a time in few families, few cases, the problem occurred. Ma'am, we have the same class at the same time. Parents are also using their laptop at the same, because it's office timing. Morning, I'm talking about 9 to 2. So we cannot attend the class at the same time. Either one brother will be attending or the other one will be attending. So it was very difficult. And even EWS category, the children who come from a very, very poor background, it was very difficult for them to pay the fees. And second is the gadgets. So we requested the management, if possible, somehow can we waive the fees for few, and it was done. I'm so thankful to our management that yes, they have waived off the fees of those children, and somehow we collected funds, and somehow we try to arrange maybe a second mobile or gadget or some laptop to those children somehow, so that they are able, because all those were genuine cases. It was not fake cases at all. So these were the things we did, and yes, certainly those children who had gone to the remote corners, maybe their grandparents' home, and where the signals were not there, somehow due to some glitches they were not able to attend the classes. For them, what we did, we recorded our lectures and we posted the lectures through the WhatsApp group so that it reaches them. Suppose in case if they were not able to join the classes, posted the videos in the Google Classroom. We have even made the YouTube lectures and given them, so that whenever they get these videos, this studies do not get affected. So this is what we have tried to do with those, in COVID-19, for those remotely placed children.
Thank you so much, ma'am. And I will really like. I would like to appreciate from all from the side of all the educators that initiative that you have to help the students during this COVID-19. So thank you so much, ma'am. So we are done with the questionnaires, and thank you so much for answering all the questions with all the patience, ma'am. Thank you so much. So I would like to thank you again, ma'am, for the wonderful and pretty informative talk and the ideas you shared today with our audience. Hope they all had a good time. So, before winding up today's session, I would like to give you a small hint about our upcoming venture. Come weekly, motivation talks from the leaders of the industry, having their expertise, and will be sharing their success stories along with the mantras behind the same. So, stay tuned for the more. This is your host Manisha signing off for today's with a promise to give you lifetime experience from Edukos United Scholar throughout the journey. Have a great day. Thank you. Thank you so much, all of you. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Manisha. It was nice talking to you, and it was a great to speak on this platform. And my special thanks to Mr. Rasish Gupta also. Thank you so much.
Thank you.